I called my wife a manipulative piece of CRP and now she's emotionally distant. My wife is incredibly emotional. She feels things very deeply and responds inappropriately sometimes with the amount of emotion she reacts with. I've tried to not have a problem with this as I know that's just her nature, but it can be overwhelming sometimes and embarrasses me in front of my friends when my wife cries. About 3 months ago we happened to get into a huge fight. She was telling a story to some friends and exaggerating the story quite a bit, so I just said, "Hey, I think you're lying a bit here, that didn't really happen like that." I wasn't trying to take away from the story, but I hate liars and she does it a fair bit when storytelling. She told me that she just does it for comedic effect and that everyone knows she doesn't tell stories 100% accurately. It was still bothering me however after everyone went home and I brought it up again, to which she told me that we'd already talked about it, and she didn't need me to correct her in front of her friends. We essentially got into a fight, and I raised my voice. She immediately started crying, more like sobbing, and I told her that she was being manipulative piece of CRP doing that. I told her that I was sick and tired of her emotions and how annoying her cries can be. I told her that every time I bring up something to take as a critique, she begins crying and it's a manipulative way to get me to stop talking about whatever's bothering me. I told her about the time I called her food disgusting and started explaining how I would cook it to taste well and she started crying. I then threatened to lay hands on her if she didn't stop her manipulative cries. Not proud of that, but in my defense, I didn't mean it. It was in the heat of the moment. My mom did the same thing to my dad, and I hate when women do that. She asked me through shuttered breathing if I really thought she was manipulative and I said yes. She flinched when I raised my hand right after and I assured her I wouldn't hurt her and that was just an empty threat. Then I told her that she manipulates the argument into going her way by crying and being the victim. She told me she couldn't even look at me and locked herself into our room to calm down. She came out a few hours later and told me that she was sorry if I thought she was being manipulative and that it wouldn't happen again. Problem solved, right? Except it's not at all. I didn't notice it immediately, but she started pulling away from me. She won't watch movies with me if there's any sad parts. She doesn't tell me the stories she used to. She won't tell stories to friends when I'm around, and now our friends don't want me to go out when they do because they say she's not fun when I'm there. She stopped reading books in the living room, stopped watching unpredictable TV shows. She won't even talk to her mom on the phone when I'm in the room. I feel like I'm living with a ghost now. It wasn't until yesterday that I even realized I haven't seen her cry since our fight. I brought it up last night and she told me that she didn't want to manipulate me anymore. I told her that her everyday crying wasn't manipulative, and she said, "So it's only manipulative when you're mad at me, and now I don't know what to do."